Do you eat really healthy and lead an active lifestyle, but you're still struggling to lose weight? If that sounds like you, this is the episode for you. Hey team, and welcome to this week's episode of The Inspired Show, the show that is dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself, physically and mentally. Before we dive into today's episode, if you've not done so already, don't forget to hit subscribe. It means you stay updated with all our content every single week. If you find this video helpful, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to share it with somebody that may benefit from it as well. Don't forget, down below, there are links to all our social media pages where we post content every single day to help you become that better version of yourself, plus access to our free community as well. And before we go into this week's episode, next week we are launching our brand new intake of one-to-one clients for our 8-week mind and body transformation, specifically for people that want to lose 8 to 16 pounds in the next 8 weeks in the right way, without giving them the foods they love or endless amounts of exercise, where we focus on body as well as mind to start building foundations for long-term sustainable change. So if anybody's interested in that, feel free to drop me a message via any of my social media pages and I'll be in touch with all the details. So today's episode is specifically for people that are eating really nutritiously, vast majority of the time. They might have an active lifestyle or very physical job, but they simply cannot lose weight and they're frustrated. They don't know why. And it is very frustrating. Like, we're led to believe if we eat super healthy foods all the time and we're quite active, then we should be slim. And when we're not slim, it's very frustrating. Very frustrating indeed. So we're going to break it down, give you some actionable tips to move forward, overcome this challenge, and ultimately become that best version of yourself. So the first thing we need to understand is if we're not losing weight, or if we're actually gaining weight, then we're consuming too many calories for what our body needs. The long and short of it is, when it comes to your weight, it does come down to the amount of calories you're consuming on a regular basis, in accordance with how much your body's burning. So if your weight is maintaining, the food you're consuming versus the amount of energy you're burning on a day-by-day basis is matching. So your weight doesn't go up, and it doesn't go down. It might fluctuate here and there, but over time, it stays pretty stagnant. Now, if you're gaining weight, then your food that you're consuming is more than the energy you're burning on a day-by-day basis. So when you overconsume calories, those excess calories have got to go somewhere. Once they've been used up by your daily movement, any exercise that you're doing, bodily functions, your body's then got to put them somewhere, okay? It can't just simply get rid of them into thin air. So your body will go, right, we've got excess calories here, this is excess energy, let's store it for a rainy day. And the way we store it is we store it in body fat, because our body fat is our stored energy. So that's what's happening if you're gaining weight. Now, in order to lose weight, we need to create a calorie deficit, an energy deficit. This is where the food you're consuming is lower than the energy that you're burning, okay? So for example, a deficit. So when you're in a deficit, there's not enough energy coming in to meet your body's energy demands. Your body realizes this and thinks, okay, there's not enough energy coming in from the food we're consuming. We need to get that energy from elsewhere to make up, to ensure we stay alive and we stay energized. So that's when it taps into the fat reserves, uses body fat as an energy source to make up the difference, and in turn, when you're using that energy source, you're burning that energy away, in turn we're burning weight. So that's the most important thing to remember. Now, your body doesn't really care where those calories come from. If you're over-consuming calories from broccoli or chocolate, if you're still over-consuming calories and you're not in a deficit, you're not going to lose weight. And you're probably thinking, Luke, well, how can I overeat on broccoli? It would be very, very difficult, but it can be done. So what we need to actually do is look at your whole nutrition and look at your whole movement as well. So we're going to delve into the nutrition side of things first, and then we'll look at the movement side of things after that. So with regards to your nutrition, again, we can be eating super healthy foods, but it could be consuming too many calories. So we need to look at the breakdown of the foods that we're consuming, okay? And a really great way to do this is to keep a food diary, a food journal, and maybe even track your calories as well, just so you've got a really good understanding of the calories you're consuming through the foods that you're eating. And that's going to bring awareness to portion control, because that's probably going to be the bottleneck for you. Portion control. So the food you're consuming, you're going to figure out exactly how much portion size you should be having, because foods can add up really, really fast. So what I would simply say is, without using a calorie calculator or anything like that, just start tracking your food, okay? Keep everything the same, but just log your food down. Log your breakfast, log your snacks, log your lunch, your evening meals, and then just get a really good understanding of how many calories you're consuming through the nutritious foods. Because ideally, we do want to be focused on more nutrient-dense foods most of the time, and if you're already doing that, you're halfway there, because obviously nutrient-dense foods allows us to energize, gives us vitamins, minerals, fiber, just general goodness. But obviously if the portions are too big, we're gonna gain weight or struggle to lose weight. So once you've done a week or two of tracking, you might figure out that you're on, let's say, 2,000 calories from the foods that you're consuming right now, okay? So we know with that 2,000 calories, you've not been losing weight. So that's probably your maintenance calories. So there's a few ways around this. One, you can keep eating that amount of food and then go to your movement and increase your daily movement. So a great way to look at your daily movement is how many steps you're doing on a day-by-day basis. So let's say, for example, you're doing, 8,000 steps a day. You might decide to bump it up to 12,000 steps a day, an extra 4,000 steps a day whilst keeping the food the same. So we know the calories you're consuming at the moment and the steps you're doing at the moment is maintenance. So if you bump up your steps, it's going to put you into that deficit. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. The second way of doing it is looking at the food you're consuming. We know the calories you're consuming after doing a couple of weeks of tracking. And then what we do is we simply just make the portions a little bit smaller. Okay, we make them a little bit smaller. So you might reduce the portion sizes by 20%. That is going to give you 20% less calories. Okay, you might say to yourself, well, I don't want to reduce my portion size, but what I might do is I don't really need that afternoon snack. I'm going to take that out. So you're reducing the snack, you're reducing the calorie deficit. So there's a variety of different ways you can look at it, okay? You might find that you're using a little bit more cooking oil than you thought you're using, okay? Because again, olive oils and cooking oils, they do have nutrients inside them, but again, we need to use them sparingly. So again, what you might opt for, instead of maybe frying your food in oils, you might decide to grill them instead. That in turn is going to reduce the calorie intake. So there's a variety of different ways of reducing calorie intake, but we need to understand how many calories we're consuming first. And for guys that are eating healthy on a regular basis, it's just about understanding how much food you're actually consuming, and then once you've done that, making these small changes over time as well, okay? You can also, like I said, increase your daily movement, or you can do a bit of both. And once you do that, it's just about being consistent in that, and then the weight will just start dropping off you. It'll start falling off you. So hopefully you found that helpful and today's episode helpful. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments. And don't forget, like I said, if you are really struggling, we've got our next 8-week challenge starting next week, and we'd love to have you on.